Hi everybody, we are working on our American History unit this year and I picked up so many supplies and supplements that I decided to split them up into smaller units starting with Columbus and then colonial times and moving all the way through into the gold rush. If you want to see a complete list of all the supplies that we're using this year, you can check them out on my website at pepperandpine.com. Okay, so this unit is going to be on American history, the Revolutionary time period, and for this unit we actually have a number of audio CDs. So the first one that we have is Heroes of America, and this is just different stories, and my kids really like audio books, so this will be a nice addition. We also have Jim Weiss's Thomas Jefferson's America, and Jim Weiss is a really great storyteller. We've heard him on many CDs and we've heard him live, and we're really excited to have this one. We also have, by Jonathan Sprout, we have American Heroes and More American Heroes. And then from the library bookstore, I found American Lion, Andrew Jackson in the White House, and the Mayflower. And these, I think, are more like high school, college, or just adult level, but I just included them in here. If anything, they'd be something that I would listen to. I don't think my kids will be interested in them, and plus, since I haven't listened to them before, I don't know if they're age appropriate, and most of the materials that we buy from places that cater to students, and I'm usually pretty okay with the material, but this I wasn't sure about, so I will probably read that. We also have some novels for my 5th grader to read. This one is The Fighting Ground, and this would probably be okay for maybe 4th grade and up, depending on your child's reading ability, maybe even 3rd grade. We also have Phoebe the Spy, and this would probably be maybe 3rd or 4th grade and up. It has some really nice illustrations as well. And we have George the Drummer Boy, and this says reading level 3, so grades 2 to 4. And my 5th grader read a number of these books just one afternoon when I was sorting through everything for this unit. So this would definitely be a book that would only take like 20 minutes if your child is older, but it's nice because it talks about a particular time period in a really simple manner. And this is Sam the Minuteman, and this is also grades 2 to 4. We also have this question and answer book, The American Revolution, and this I'm not going to be using for this unit study, but what I will be using this book for is for my 9th grader, who is not going to be doing the unit studies with us this year the same way he did in the past, because he needs to be doing subjects that span the whole year. So he has his own lessons for the whole year, and this is a great resource to use if I needed, or anybody needed, questions that relate to a particular time period that, you know, if you don't have time to make up your own lessons, then this has the questions and the answers. So that's why I'm going to be using that book. We also have George Washington. This is a biography book. We picked this one up from the library bookstore. I forgot to mention that about half the material here we picked up from Rainbow Resource, and in the description box below you'll find a link to all the materials that we're using for all of our history units this year. It has descriptions about each of the products. It has books and audio CDs and games and toys, and you'll find the document that I have made also has links to all the products. In case you wanted to find similar materials, then you can just check the description box below. But this one we found from the library bookstore for like $1, and we went ahead and picked it up, and my 9th grader has already read this book, but my 5th grader is really into reading just about anything, and so some material that I had intended for just my 9th grader I am keeping around for my 5th grader because he just reads so much that he could also read that. We have famous presidents, and we won't be using this as, you know, reading cover to cover, but we certainly will use this periodically through our different units. And this was, I think, picked up from the library bookstore for $1. We have a picture book on George Washington. I really like David Adler's books. They are really beautifully illustrated. They're very simple but well written, and I'm happy to have this one. This was a hand-me-down, so That was nice to have. This one we got from Rainbow Resource. It's You Wouldn't Want to Be at the Boston Tea Party, and I really like this series of books. The illustrations are really witty and whimsical, and you'd be surprised, but there's actually a lot of really good content in these books. Sometimes the illustrations make it look like it's not going to be packed with a lot of information or serious information, but they're really well written and we've really enjoyed them. We have Battles of the French and Indian War, and this is a book that I think is great for any child in elementary school. This is good to read aloud. This is something that I will probably read aloud to my kids, but again, my 5th grader reads just about anything that's around, so he'll probably read this whole book before I get to it. A More Perfect Union, The Story of Our Constitution. This is a picture book that's also filled with really great content. This is what I really like about some of these picture books. You think they're intended for really young students, but the content lends itself really well to like a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grader, and this would be something that I will read aloud to the kids. Oh, 1 second. Okay, what? We also have Paul Revere's Bride, and this is another really, really nice picture book. I really like the illustrations a lot. What's great is that you, again, get really good content and you get really beautifully illustrated pages, and this is something that I'm looking forward to reading, not just once for the unit, but this is something that you could read anytime. We have Where Was Patrick Henry on the 29th of May? And this is another book that my 5th grader could read on his own. It wouldn't take him very long, or I could read aloud. And The Boston Tea Party. This is a really nice picture book as well. And I really like it when you can find quality picture books like this that complement a history unit or any unit. We also have Ariel Bradley, A Spy for General Washington, and this is a book that won't take my 5th grader very long to read, but also this would be another wonderful read aloud for a younger student. This is probably 3rd or 4th grade level, maybe. It's hard to tell these days. Like, my 5th grader he loves to read anything, and so sometimes he reads things that are of like a higher grade level, whereas my first 2 kids didn't read till much later. So now you might think, yes, that's for my 3rd grader, and you might think, no, that's for my 5th grader. We have The Battle of Bunker Hill. This is an interactive history adventure where you can choose multiple story paths with different endings and different choices, and we haven't used these kinds of books before with our history unit, and so I'm excited to see if my kids are going to like this. We also have some historical replica coins. These are of the American Revolution. I'm not sure if you are supposed to be able to open these or not, because I think my kids would like to be able to handle them, but they also... Are they real? No, they're not real. They're replicas, but they are nicely packaged. And we also have the Professor Noggin's American Revolution card game, and this is the ones that come with deck of cards that have different questions on them. There's the easy set and the hard set, and they're usually really nicely illustrated, and then you have your dice. And what's great about these kinds of games is that we like to play it at the beginning of our unit, and we'll do like the easy ones and we'll see how much we know, and then we'll play it again at the end of our unit, and then we try to do the hard ones, and then we'll also see how much we know. And what's great about these kinds of card games is that then later on, when you're not even doing that unit, you can pull out a couple cards and play the game and see what you remember. The last thing I want to show you are these books. This is American History Stories, and this is volume 2. This will accompany this time period, but there are actually 4 volumes in this series. What I really like about this is that they're going to be really easy to read, great for as a read aloud for, say, any child in elementary school. And I am looking forward to adding these to our unit, and I just want to show you that there are 4 volumes altogether. Now, in addition to this material, I do have a few more books that are part of a series, and I have a separate video that shows all of those books and materials that we're going to be using, and you can check that out as well. I do want to show you one more thing before I close this video. and that is this game. It's called Way Back When in History, and this game is going to be used throughout all of these units because it goes from the Constitution, American Revolution, American colonies, and the Civil War, and explorers. Actually, so it starts over here. And so since this spans so many time periods, we're going to be using this game throughout all of our units. Let me just show you what the board looks like. In case you're interested in getting something like this, we really like using board games and games of any kind in our homeschool, and then it comes with a deck of cards and also the different pieces for playing the game. Okay, so I think that about covers what we're using for this particular time period. And the only other thing that I want to mention is that we do intend to include some geography, but we probably won't include this part until we're done with most of the units, since at this time period there were only 13 colonies. They did not have all 50 states, but this is something definitely that we'll be adding later on in our units. And we've had this game for a while. Clearly, I think I had a toddler that started to eat it, but this is a really great card game that helps you with the states and the capitals. Okay, thanks for watching.